Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lightshare episode 2. I'm joined by Adrian and Dom, and I'm Andre, and today we'll be talking about making your mark as an artist. Hello, guys.
Nice. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the
Everybody,
second episode.
how's it going?
Yep. So,
Cool.
how are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Just woke up. It's
Yeah,
It's
I'm
currently
pretty
doing
early over
well.
there, right?
6:42 a.m. right
Day.
now. So
Okay,
yeah,
just so you guys can
rise
see
and
how
shine.
serious we're taking this.
Yeah, of course, man.
Um,
When they look at us, all they think is, oh, these are serious
sacrifice.
guys.
I'm not serious at all.
Yeah, I mean, these podcasts, videos are meant to be like casual type of conversations, right? So
Yeah.
you might notice some stuff here and there, but yeah, overall, we're going to try and speak about making your own mark as an artist. And I don't know, where should we begin on this. Like, I think
Well,
everybody wants to do something like that, right?
mhm.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
idea is that the concept of making your mark is different for everybody. So
Mhm.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
maybe
But let's
maybe
talk about the perspective that we're talking about here from,
Like,
right?
yeah. What would
Uh,
like some of your experiences be? How you guys try to make your marks currently? What sort of things that you have to go through to build your foundation up? What trials and errors did you go through? What sort of you know those sort of things, experiences or
I think that I've been
I
challenges?
dealing
guess
with the idea of making my mark recently because I see you guys with your like bigger projects, right? And to me, it looks very much like your legacy, sort of say, will be making your own project and have that kind of stuff. That will be your mark to the world. And I'm not sure if I feel like that will be something that it's mine as well, like my pathway would be that one. I think that the idea of making my mark as an artist will be more geared towards like being a part of bigger projects, right? Instead of having my own stuff.
I look
Yeah.
at it as a natural way to grow. You naturally will have expectations about whatever you have to do, about the results of whatever you're doing, but then you will expect something, like I want to work for a certain company, or I want to, make my own IP, or end up doing whatever you want to do, right? And then if that doesn't happen, we feel like we haven't made our mark or something like that, like it didn't happen. I don't think about it really necessarily that way. Like, now that I'm here doing my own thing, like I'm working on my own IP and stuff like that, of course I'd like you guys to take a look at it when it's done and stuff like that. And of course I'd like people to like it. But I think what's most important, and this sounds extremely like cliche, but it's important to have fun and have passion for whatever you are working on, right? To have to enjoy the process, to enjoy the journey. This is a journey. It's not about the final end. It's not about the result, because that's like a consequence of the journey itself. In my opinion, that's the way I see it, at least.
Yeah, I feel that if there's too many expectations within trying to make your mark, I feel that's when that sort of demotivation sets in sometimes. You can really like hamper yourself for like you you feel like you have to reach like a certain expectation, when you put that out for yourself. So yeah, just like enjoying the journey and like just trying to take people with you on where you go and stuff because that's basically like your life, and people are coming along to join you on your
But
life
see,
to like
that's what I'm saying, is like setting up expectations. It's like a road to emotional failure, if I have to call it somehow. Because if it doesn't, what if it doesn't happen the way you expected it? You'll feel devastated.
Mhm.
Instead, a solution to that might be to just enjoy it the way it is for you, the way just enjoy it. Take away the experience you had with it, you know. There will be a lot of ups and downs, you know. It's a learning process. So, leaving your mark as an artist has to do entirely with the experience you have, you know, like um not like the expertise you have, but like the way you lived throughout the entire journey, right?
Yeah,
People will notice that. People will see it. Sometimes we fail to see that from inside here, right? It's always perceived from the outside. So, I guess that's why it's so important to make contacts, to meet other artists, to have like different eyeballs out there, you know, from which to see your own situation from a different perspective and stuff like that. Because most of the time, teamwork helps you to realize like mistakes you make that you otherwise wouldn't notice on your own. Um, yeah, I don't know, something like that, like
Um,
making your own mark as an artist. I think it has to do extremely with that, like exactly with that. It's
yeah,
like pursuing your own thing. Have an idea and just go for it. You know, just do it, man. It's
yeah,
there's no secret really.
yeah. Because I think there's like different ways to make your mark. I know in terms of us, we're making like an IP that's like our mark, or we become ultra noticed by everyone in the industry. We do something like Jama Jurabayev, who just is a pioneer in like the tech part of VR. So that's like making his mark. I don't know, Craig Mullins, just being the founder of digital concept art, basically. You know, so I feel like there's different routes to take. There's no like one specific route, but just keeping in mind to make an impact on the people who follow you, I think is important to really change their perspective in some way. I don't know how to
yeah.
describe
I
it, but
think the way that I see it, it's way more related to the impact than to how you achieve that. I don't have that much attachment to the idea of my own IP, you know, because to me it's not really about the my big idea or my big personal project, and that's not trying to bash like anyone that likes to do that, because both of you do that, and it's honestly amazing to see like how you can come up with such big projects, right? But I feel
I
like
think it's a personal thing, you know.
yeah, exactly. I do think
It's almost like defining success. Like it means something different for each individual, I guess.
mm,
You know, to someone could be like creating their own fantasy world, to others could be, you know, creating the entire set of, say, spaceships for this sci-fi project, you know, and be the one responsible for that. It's like your dream. It's like your dream project, you know. For some others, could be like building like an online school or something like that, you know, teaching people. I don't know. It's different for everyone. So I guess it has kind of an abstract meaning depending on the individual, like making your own mark, you know, leaving your mark on the world. It depends entirely on you and your journey.
or it can just be some people just want to get good. That's like their
Why
main
not?
objective. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
You define it.
what do you guys think about like young artists who are like trying to make their mark? What sort of advice would you give to those people? Like someone who's fresh out of high school, or I don't know, they look up to like these crazy artists and they don't know how to do it.
I think there are
Yeah.
two steps to it, you know, because the first thing that I would say is that I still feel like I am, even though I'm 26 right now, I still don't feel like I have enough value to offer in terms of being an influence to young minds, right? I don't think I don't think that there is a point at which you can say like, oh, right now I'm able to be an influence, but at this moment, I particularly don't feel like I can be that. But what I would say to young people, from what I know, it's uh, be aware of what's the difference between technical skills and what really impacts you in other ways, right? Because in order to be emotionally impacted, you don't necessarily need to be looking at like amazing, technically uh, great artwork. And sometimes, at least that happened to me when I was younger, I would get like very much in awe of great artists just because their images looked great, right? And I would not care that much for the significance of what they were creating. And like, I don't know about you guys, but that can make you a little bit confused about what you want, right? What kind of thing you want, because you can be impacted by things in many different styles. That makes you a little bit lost on what you want to pursue with your own stuff. So I
I
don't know.
I would not worry about it. I would
Yeah.
just, if you like this, do this. If you like that, do that. It's a matter of time you will realize that, you know what, I actually don't like doing this. And you'll jump onto something else. And I think
Mm.
it's really easy to confuse that by a lack of focus. It's like a thin line dividing these two things. Like, I'm exploring, or I'm just simply lost. Like, I can't focus and commit to one thing for a, long term kind of period of time. So I think it has to do exactly what, like, your question, Dom, has exactly everything to do with this desire that we all seem to have of, like, leaving our mark, like an impression on the world. I don't know how to express myself here, but it's like, I've been here, this is what I've done. I want you to remember me for this. I think everybody wants something like that, right? And that has to do with expectations. And again, I don't think that's a good thing because if it doesn't happen, you feel bad, instead of having fun with whatever you're creating, whatever you're doing. Um, I'm saying this, but sometimes I feel both ways. Sometimes I feel like I got to do this for the views, I got to do this for the likes. People expect me to do this, and sometimes I just do it for myself, and I'm having so much fun working on whatever that is. It just fulfills me. Like my IP, say right now, right? I'm just, I started doing it for myself. It took me like 2 years to release anything related to it, right?
Mm.
Because I thought, nah, man, this is something for me. Like, people, maybe they won't like it, and then you post one image, and they're like, "Whoa, what's this?" Like, we don't know more about it. We want to see more. And like, whoa, so they actually do like it. That's how you experiment with your own stuff, and you get to a point where evidence is quite undeniable, and you can't keep lying to yourself about your level, about your whatever you think about yourself. People, like the audience, your audience, the community, will just prove you right, or they'll prove you wrong. But you have to take that step, I think. You can't just keep, let's say, hiding within your insecurities. Again, I'm speaking from my own experience here. This is what I experienced. And yeah, I would say, just whatever you think you like, just go for it. You like to paint dragons, you like to paint fantasy stuff, you like to paint sci-fi, spaceships, robots. Do whatever you like, man. You like everything, do everything if you can, right? There's not like a textbook for this. There's not like a guidelines, like a guidebook for art, for the creative journey. It's in the
Yeah.
word, right? Creative. You have to be creative with your own thing. So
Yeah. In my journey, like my experience, when I was doing the book, I first started out with that first image, right? It was just this girl in some oriental setting. And it didn't get that many views, and at that point I was like, I don't really care, you know, because I wanted to do this for myself, you know, and that's how it should be. I liked a lot of, you know, Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider, all that other stuff, Indiana
All the
Jones.
influences, right?
Yeah, because I would watch like all that stuff like all the time. Remember, I'd watch the Mummy series with Brendan Fraser. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
watched that series, but it was so hilarious. Like I would watch it maybe 10 plus times as a kid. But anyways,
Hello, hello, hello.
you know, because nobody knew what the heck Journey to the East was. You know, like I didn't even know what it was at the time. I was just like, okay, I like this stuff. I'm just gonna do it. I don't care about the follows. I don't care about the likes. Like it might have gotten 100 likes, like the first picture. I didn't even care. And over time, I just kept building the images, you know, and I was engrossed in this world. Now I want to see this thing come to life, you know, because I was hyping myself up for it. I was like, man, this is so cool. I'm actually like enjoying this, you know, and you know, people wanted to like jump on board, seeing where it went, you know, and that made me even more excited. So I wanted to finally put everything together and like impact people, saying like,
I
yeah,
think sometimes you feel intimidated by, when you take this kind of when you make this kind of decision that I want to
yeah,
go this way. You feel intimidated by what do you think it takes to go that way, and you're like, oh wait, I don't have that, right? And then you
mhm,
back off. I think if you can beat that moment, if you can push yourself to take that first step, you'll first start to realize that each step you take, it's like you're figuring it out on your way, right? Like on the go.
yeah,
It's not like you have to start with everything already prepared, already, like you're never going to be ready anyway, with anything you do. So just waiting for the perfect moment, I think it's kind of pointless.
yeah, exactly. I think when you have an idea, you should execute it anyways, regardless of what anyone says. You know, if your heart believes in it, then you should go for that because
You can always
uh,
iterate later,
yeah.
make
And
changes
if
and
it
stuff.
doesn't mhm, if it doesn't work out, then change the plan, but not the goal. You know, change the direction of your IP if you're not enjoying it, or if like you're not seeing like progress on it, then switch it up, and that's totally okay because experimenting is always, you know, free. It's out there. Um,
Hmm.
I did a lot of experimenting before the book, just falling on my face a lot of times. You know, um, I was doing that A Long Way Home series back in the past, which never finished, but maybe in the future I might pick it back up again. And I actually kind of like that world. That was like pretty fun for a little while, but um, I guess I had like another interest, so I wanted to do that instead. So, you know, you could change direction anytime. There's no penalty for doing that because if you put a penalty on yourself and you're too hard on yourself, you're just gonna go down a road of self
I
deprecation.
try, I would
Yeah.
try to be aware of social media and influences like that, certain trends that might influence this is kind of a tricky subject because sometimes it could be good, it can be a good idea to let yourself be influenced by certain trends and stuff that will later define your kind of your style, because I don't know. I'm just saying this because I think you got to be aware of that because you don't want to be making art for, how should I say this, to kind of entertain the audience, like in terms of expecting likes and expecting stuff on social media, right? If you depend on that, you'll kind of be dragged down pretty easily by, again, expectations, right? Like I'm gonna post this, people better like it. And it's almost the same thing as when you post like an entire what's up?
You better like it.
It's
If you
like
don't
drawing
like it, you're gonna feel bad, right? You're gonna feel like, man, this is a 20-hour painting. This is a 15-minute sketch.
mm,
This has way more likes than my
yeah,
extremely worked. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's not a good a good
yeah, if
measure
you
at all.
expected that, like that's bad. But if you
Yeah.
just posted feeling like, man, I did a 20-hour painting, like I'm so proud of this, like I don't care if anyone liked it or not. I don't care if it has more or less likes than anything else. But I know that I'm proud of this painting and I'm proud of the way it came out. It was such a struggle. It started really bad. I wasn't sure about myself. Then I pulled it off somehow, and it's this beautiful masterpiece that I'm so proud of. If you can value yourself, I think people will see that.
Yeah,
Mm,
definitely.
I understand that,
And
but like to me, the problem was never about the likes. It was not like other people judgment that was the issue. It was my own judgment. Like it's hard to stop looking at every piece that you do and thinking about how does this align with my goals. You know. Um,
of course, I'm not saying that I'm kind of thinking that way. I was addressing the question that Dom made in the beginning, like about young people, beginners, that are starting now and stuff like that.
yeah,
Like I'm just
but that's
kind
the
of
thing,
warning
right? I
about the
mentioned that
possibilities.
a lot of people, especially I
Mhm.
see a lot of young people doing this. They say to themselves that they want to do X, right? Let's say that I want to work for Star Wars, right? Which is a pretty common goal to hear out there.
Mhm.
And how do they stop from looking at every piece that they do and thinking, how will this piece get me to Star Wars? How do you separate yourself from the idea of that your goals make who you are? The thing is, I listen to you guys talking about how you have your own influences, right? And you got to work on your own
Mhm.
mark and everything. And how does one prevent from losing themselves, like losing their own mark, losing their own personal identities while they're trying to pursue something that's
Oh,
bigger?
okay.
I think
Okay. Yeah, I
I
was
That's a good question.
following
was,
your question. I was
yeah,
following, well, your answer, actually.
I'm sorry, like
But yeah, coming,
it was poorly
it's
phrased.
okay.
No, that's
No,
a good
it's all
question.
right. Coming back to the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm asking you because I honestly don't know. And it seems like you guys have all figured it out.
I don't have it
No.
figured at all.
Dude, you never have it all figured out.
Yeah,
It's what it looks like, perhaps,
yeah.
but
On the outside, yeah.
yeah, on the inside it's a mess. It's like a chaos thing.
There's always some bouts of self doubt that I have within myself. It's never like I'm fully confident, like to the point where I'm like, I know my shit. But it's mostly just a lot of turmoil and stuff going on inside my brain, but at the same time, just pushing through it.
Honestly,
Um,
I think it's always going to be that way.
yeah,
I don't think we will ever get to a point where we will feel like that's it. I know it all now, you know.
mhm,
I don't think so. We will always be learning,
yeah,
like every single day, every single stuff
because
you do, any single
Learning
moment.
maybe, yeah, like maybe you'll get to the point where like the idea is not that you stop learning, but maybe you know yourself so much that your vision is aligned with your objectives, and everything becomes one
And you'll
thing.
stop caring about nonsense stuff that is not aligned with your goals or whatever.
Yeah, like
Because see, right,
the idea
yeah,
is to have a clear view of everything, like
mm,
maybe it's a romantic idea and that will never happen in real life, but to me, I think the ultimate goal would be to like have my job and my personal goals so perfectly aligned that like I move through life in a way that everything that I do on a daily basis, it's conforming to what I want my mark as an artist to be. And that ties back to the earlier questions, right? Because
Hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm trying to figure this out actually. Like that's the the idea, you know. Um,
Of course, dude.
I,
Like, we're not here to teach anything, just sharing our experience,
yeah,
right?
but I'm picking your
That's
brain
at
for
least
a
the way
moment.
we see it.
So to see like
Hmm.
what's going on, why like these guys feel so satisfied with their personal IPs, right?
Okay,
And
I can talk about that.
to me, it doesn't do the trick. Like that's not something that I see myself doing as of at least of right now. You know, I will not say that like forever I will not do something like this. But
It's probably like a convergence of many things in life, you know. When I started, of course, I wanted to, well, like in the previous episode, we talked about start our starting points in the industry and stuff like that, how we got into art. And well, I said that when I figured out what concept art was, I stumbled across Feng Zhu's videos on YouTube, and I was like, dude, this is what I want to do, right? This is for me. It's it has everything I do, and I want to learn how to do this. So I was listening and nurturing myself with all this information online that was kind of confrontational sometimes, like conflicting, because depending on the source, they would have like a different point of view, right? So I thought, hey, I want to work in the industry as a concept artist, specialized concept artist for environments, and then I will be like, but I also like to do other stuff like creatures, like characters and stuff. Um, and I was sure that I wanted to work for like a big company, right? Like that was the only thing for me. Like the only goal was to make it up there somehow, with the big guys, like big companies, Blizzard, Naughty Dog, stuff like that, And I was kind of blinded by those big names that I couldn't see the smaller names, which are also cool, which are also full of opportunities, full of nice people that you can learn a lot from. Um, and I think that's what I feel like there's more people like me out there doing like this, committing, making this mistake, you know. And I think that when you kind of understand this, that there's like more possibilities outside of the big bubble of the big names, you know. I think it's really relieving. It's like there's more world out there, other than that. And you start to think maybe it was not for me, maybe it's like it had to be this way. But somehow, after trying, jumping from one project to another, I don't know, man, somehow I had this idea. It just struck me like a lightning, and I realized that it was building up from a long time ago. I just had like a spark, right, that ignited this whole uh, fire for me, which is my project, right? And I started to feel like, hey, maybe working for a big company is not what I wanted to do. You start to ask yourself these questions like, maybe there's another way. And then you start seeing other people doing the same thing. You meet people like you guys, like Dom, like people who are also coming up with their own stuff, right? And at the same time, you still have those contacts who made it to the big companies and stuff, and they're super happy, their lives are going super well, and you're like, ugh, there's like these two different roads, like which one is for me? Well, you don't know, you just have to choose one, right? It's a decision you have to make. And I don't think you should be afraid of it, because either one you choose, you're going to be right. There's no right or wrong. It's just a decision. There's no bad decisions. I think the way I see it, at least, I
Yeah,
think it's just the whatever you choose. It's up to you.
yeah, I
Sometimes
want
they find you. Sometimes
hmm
they just fall out of nowhere. They find you. So
yeah,
yeah.
I wanted to add on that point. I guess in my experience, I was kind of like that too. I felt that a studio job was the only way to secure my life as an artist. That was the surefire way to be successful as an artist. But I didn't actually think that there were other ways as well. So I was like that guy who was like, "Oh, I want to work on the next Last of Us. Like, how cool would it be to work at Naughty Dog, or like the next Uncharted?" But I realized I had to be kind of more realistic with my goals too, and also my skill sets, like where my skill sets fell into, because I knew I wasn't going to be as good as the Naughty Dog artists until like I really busted my ass off, until like, I had no sleep. Like I know John Sweeney. If you heard his story, he spent like 3 weeks on the Naughty Dog art test, like just straight, and he got in. To have that much dedication to know get into a studio is, I don't know. Like for me, I kind of changed direction a bit. But once I started seeing that, yeah, like you can produce your own ideas. You can be like a Simon Stollenhog, someone else like Matt Rhodes who made his own IP. I was like,
Mr.
man,
Werewolf
yeah,
on Instagram.
him too. Jacob Rosalski.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like those guys. I'm like, you can actually do something with this and be known for this, like making your mark as an artist with this, instead of being a senior concept artist or senior art director at a studio, like that big mark. But I realize you don't necessarily have to be a big shot in the industry to make your name out there. You just create your own niche of community people that like your stuff, and that's how they know you for that. So
I wanted to
I
ask you, like, what do you think? Like you said, being realistic, right? Like, what does that mean to you? Like to be realistic about it.
I put this in simpler terms. Yeah, just like knowing my strengths and weaknesses, I would say. Like
Okay.
knowing that I I could achieve that sort of skill if I wanted to, if I put in like maybe 10 extra years or 5 extra years of like hyper focus just to like get that style right.
Dude, it will take
So I
less time to you, don't worry.
nah, but I don't know. Night Dog's pretty picky with their they, and same with Riot too. They really vet out their artists to make sure you're like top elite, like top of the line. Um, so you have to be like really good. But I realize, that's kind of a stretch for me. But I can be good in what I do, in my own creative field, not necessarily like what Riot's doing or what other big studios are doing, but what I
Yeah.
can do in my own niche, you know. And I might not be the next Craig Mullins or the next John Parker or anything, but I can be who I am, you know, what
There you go.
I am as an
That's what I
artist.
wanted to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's like we usually have those idols as our goals. Like I want to
yeah,
be the next Jama. I want to be the next Craig Mullins. I want to be the next. You're never gonna be
whoever.
them.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
But
you.
yeah, you can be you to however highest skill set you can achieve. You know, that's
Hmm.
that's what you achieve ultimately. You might not achieve that status, but you can achieve your own status next to that status, and that's okay.
Hmm.
It's just, yeah, knowing your expectations and knowing your goals, what you want to reach for yourself, not for someone else. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about this analogy about pointing to the moon. When I'm pointing to the moon and you're looking at my finger instead of the moon, right? Like my finger would be your goal, like your idol, your you know you want to be like Craig Mullins, then that's where I'm pointing to, right? The moon is where you're going to be, right? That's going to be you. But you don't focus on the finger. You're focusing on the moon, like the ultimate goal, because most people confuse that. Like you have to have a reference, right? Multiple reference. That's that's ideal. But you don't have to make the mistake of trying to become one of them, like them, like a copycat of that artist or whatever field you are into, you know? Like, no, dude, I want to do it like them, like that, right? You're going to do it like you do it, you know? You have your own style, your own mark, you know? That's the thing that you don't realize it, but you're slowly building your own style as you learn, right? Because I've heard this a lot of times, like, how do I come up with my style? You know, like I want to have my own style. Well, that's not something you focus on. That's not something that you can build consciously. That's just a consequence of your own growth, your own process of learning, of practicing. It's almost like, yeah, it's a succession of different practices, you know? It's the
Mhm.
it's the final conclusion. That's your style. And it's not final, so to speak. It's not like locked, you know, it's not like it can't change. Your style is something that will fluctuate a lot of times depending on your journey, and that's absolutely fine. Like you don't have to worry about that. Many people changed from extremely realistic art to more stylized art, or vice versa. They started stylized. They went to a more realistic approach. That's fine. That's each and every single one of us has like its own journey. And if you're happy with it, if you're proud and fulfilled by it, that's all that matters, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's okay to reference a style. You know, just do your own thing with it. Like, I guess that's why IP building is kind of helps you not just paint like the style that the artist you like, but you're making your own worlds, kind of influencing from that style, kind of like what I'm doing. Um, well, my projects, I'm like sort of influencing from that style, but I'm making my own world from the style I'm like kind of using. So the world is me, like what I'm creating. You know, the style is just
Mm-hmm.
like a byproduct of it. It's not really like I'm focusing just on the style. It's more about the story, like what I'm trying to
Absolutely.
tell to the world. You know, like I could care less about style. I could care like how flashy it looks. You know, I'm just focused on like how can I hit like an audience's emotion point or something like that. Like what makes them tick. You know, that's to me more important
And
than
and
the
sometimes
style.
style becomes something you can't really perceive yourself. Like
Mhm.
it happens to me at least. Like people telling me like, "Dude, yeah, I knew this was yours because it's like your style." And I'm like, "So what is it? What's my style? I don't know. I can't see it." And they're like, "Yeah, it's like this kind of art, you know, it's like this and like that." And I'm like, I'm not able to see it myself, right? But it's like, hey, if someone else can see it, then it's nice, I guess. It's kind of a funny thing. I just noticed it. Like I don't know what it is like. Only everyone else knows, you know, what it is like what's my style and stuff.
Yeah, and I guess it
I
Yeah,
don't know if it happened
comes
to
in
you guys.
different ways as well. Style like can be the way that you approach things or the shapes that you use, or like it ranges from how you do it to what you're doing. So there are arts that they vary between mediums, right? But whenever they post like a, let's say they are using VR now, you know that's them despite the fact that they changed the medium, and then they are using
Yeah.
3D and you still know that's them, and they're using like 2D sketching, and then it's still them. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess like the ultimate goal with style would be to be able to carry um, your communication, like visual communication skills with you, no matter what you do, because that's
I
like
guess it
your
becomes like an
identity.
ingrained formula of yourself, you know, like the way you do art, no matter what. medium you're using.
Yeah, and maybe it has something to do with um, how your brain approaches the process. You know.
Exactly. It becomes like a second nature kind of thing, like a muscle memory, I think it's called. You
Yeah,
always do it the same no matter what uh, medium you're using.
yeah, and sometimes the style might just come from your brush set. Like the same brushes you use. That's like your
Yeah.
style. It's not really like, oh, I use this unique
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
I think
technique.
it comes
style
from the
is just an
soul. Stop
adaptation.
selling brushes, man.
Buy my brushes, guys.
I mean,
I
I
don't
just
have
put
any.
my brushes like in every tutorial, so if people want to use them, they can use them. But I'm not advocating like, oh, this
I
is
know, dude. I
the way to
know.
achieve your
Nah, it's
style.
just like an
It's like,
adaptation. I feel like
yeah,
you're just adapting
exactly.
to whatever you have, to your tools. See, this is a nice moment to say the tool doesn't make the artist. Like it doesn't matter what brushes you use, what tools you use. It's just the way you use them. It's it's you, man. It's you who makes it work. So yeah,
Yeah, but at the same
Yeah, I
time,
agree.
there's nothing wrong with trying like to go after the tools that your favorite artists use, in order to learn from them.
it's not wrong as long as I mean, it's not wrong until that's the only thing you do.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, Constantly trying to, it happened to me in the beginning with 3D, with the render engines and stuff. I was constantly asking people, "Hey, what software did you render this with?" They're like, "Nah, Blender, man, just Blender." I'm like, "Really? Okay." And I'm like, "I thought it was this other engine or this other one." Nah, man, just a simple render.
See,
I'm like,
that's where it
"Really?
gets
Okay."
complex and like
Yeah, and then
complicated.
you start like, how can it be? It's like so complex, but
That
they
voice
claim it to be
acting
so
though.
simple. You could put this in black and white or something. It's like acting dramatic moment. But yeah, you keep asking those questions, because it's easier. It's easier to ask questions than to figure it out by yourself, I guess.
And also,
Yeah,
like,
So
it's an easier to learn, right? That's how you learn how to learn, because you're in class in school and you are encouraged to ask questions. And then, like, when you start to learn art, there are some people that act as if there existed right questions to ask and wrong questions to ask, and I don't think there are. Like, I don't think that asking which brush a person used or which
no, no,
render
no.
it's
Don't
wrong.
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
not
I
okay to
know, man.
ask.
I know,
It's
I know. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, uh, um,
it's okay to ask
it's
questions.
okay to ask, and with time, people learn that um, you can ask it like to 100 different artists, and the answer will be most likely the same. That it doesn't really matter because it's most likely that everybody used a bunch of different stuff throughout their lives, and your final choices per se ends up being just a matter of personal preference. So it's like in the beginning, maybe you don't know that, and in the beginning, maybe you're trying to figure out the secret, right? And then you learn that, okay, there's no secret. Like everybody did the exact same thing, and everybody went through the steps of asking which brushes they use.
Exactly.
So
I think I see some correlation here between that and this mindset of short term kind of reward, like no effort, great reward kind of mental system that we create for ourselves to be more comfortable all the time. So we naturally grow into this structure of our mind that consists of claiming things quick, you know, without any effort at all. And if it doesn't work, that means that there's something wrong. I did something wrong, like there must be a way to do it quick, right? Turns out there's not always a quick way to do something. There's no shortcuts for certain things. And you have to do them yourself. You have to figure out your own custom way to do it. There's no one out there. This can be applied to any field, I think, you know, whether it's art, whether it's fitness, health related stuff. Um, it's like, what shoes should I use to run better? It's like, dude, if you want to just take down some weight, like just any shoes, running shoes, you just
Dude,
have to
you
run.
could go
You know,
barefoot.
it's
You know?
it's 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 about moving. It's not about, so you actually spend more time looking for the solution without taking any action, just asking people, hey, what's your brushes, hey, what's your shoes for running, hey, what's your software, how did you do this, instead of trying to figure it out yourself. that time you ask that time you used to ask, um, for all these things could be invested in just figuring it out yourself. And yeah, I don't know. It can be
So
associated to anything you want. Maybe it means that you don't want it hard enough, you don't want it bad enough. Maybe it means you're kind of insecure about trying this. Maybe you need that initial push. I don't know. But I'm telling you something. Once you decide to take that first step, it's like you forget about those questions, you know, before starting the thing. Once you're in there, it's like you just go.
Mm.
You're like in the flow state, so to speak, right?
Yeah, I kind of understand. Okay, go ahead, Dom. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that.
that's
Um,
okay.
yeah, I was going to say that I understand when people like it's not that they want it easy, you know, but maybe you never faced that kind of difficulty before. Does it make sense? So it's like when I was a kid in school, right? I was a top 5 student in class, and I never had to study for
Damn.
that. Like honestly, I never opened a book when I was in school, and it never made a difference. I never had to study that. So I didn't have that association in my mind that in order to like learn and be good at something, I needed to put effort in, and like what that effort meant, right? So that's why I don't think that asking the question, and I don't want to sound cocky, you know, like I got my ass kicked by art, so I learned my lesson. But um,
We all did, I guess. I'm still
yeah,
figuring it out, but
yeah. But that's why I'm very open to people asking what they would say, like it's dumb questions or looking for quick ways, right? Because up to the point that they learn that there are no quick ways on anything in life, then it's like, okay, they have the now they have the keys to the kingdom, you know, like now they
yeah, it's
if you
not something that someone has to tell you. Like, stop asking stupid questions. I think it's something you will stop doing yourself at some point once you realize
yeah,
what you're saying right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I don't know, like this conversation went from a lot of different points and I'm kind of lost
I
right
think it's
now.
all related. No, I think it's related, dude.
We're talking about
Yeah.
the tutorials thing. How like
Hmm.
Yeah.
young people are trying to find the next best tutorial so they can level up faster. But again, there's no direct tutorial that's going to give you the be all end all. It's if you want tutorials, it's kind of like an amalgamation of all the tutorials together that
Hmm.
boosts you to your
Yeah.
skill that you want. It's not just one.
See, I can relate to that because I was, at this point in my life where I was being paid pretty well and I had enough to spend on books, and I ended up spending like a lot of money on anatomy books, art of books, right? Kind of looking for those answers. Like, maybe it's not enough with this book only. Maybe I'll need another one because there's more knowledge, more, you know, and since it didn't seem like a big pain for me to pay for those books, I probably didn't value that enough. Like, it was just another book for me that I would collect on my shelf. And then I ended up with this collection of books that I'm like, oh man, now which one should I choose? There's so many, so let's go this one.
But like you never read
maybe
them?
maybe there's a
Like you
better
got
one.
them without
Maybe
reading?
there's they're not
Or talk
necessarily like reading books, like textbooks.
oh I
Like,
see.
I don't know how to explain it. Like, I have anatomy books that, yeah, they do contain some text, but it's not about reading. It's about studying it, practicing. Almost like Scott Robertson's books, right? Like you read and you take every page as a lesson. The how to draw, how
You
to
take every
render,
page to the heart, man. Listen to what I'm saying. No,
every
but okay.
lesson, dude.
So
Every single
actually,
exercise must be like a lesson.
dude, of course, man.
My
Like,
point
there
was
is
that
there any other way?
if it doesn't take much effort from your side, you won't be able to value it. That's what I'm trying to say. If it takes a lot for you to get that, once you
Yeah,
get it, whatever it is, a tutorial, a book, a whatever it is, you will kind of like value it much more. Like
and also
it's
you will
almost like when you
extract
finish a
every
painting
single
that
thing, right?
took exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, especially if it's a book you
absolutely.
like.
But actually, you made me curious, Adrian. Like, the thing is, you told that you were making a lot of money, or at least like decent amount of money, and then you were getting the books. But what kind of skill set made you earn that money? The position that you were like now in a decent position? Because
Now
I
I'm not.
imagine that
This is
no,
I'm not doing good financially right now, but at that time I
yeah,
was
I
for the age.
understand. But like the
Yeah.
thing is, if you didn't had the books back then before getting them, of course, right?
Hmm.
How did you ended up succeeding? That's the reflection that I'm trying to make. Because here's the thing, um, you achieved the success without the books. So why did you think that you need them in order to improve?
Yeah. So I think that uh, must have something to do with our own insecurities. Um, I did. I guess I did. I was not able to see my level as an artist. I would just keep looking forward and upwards. Like I'm not aware that I've already climbed this little mountain. You know, I just keep thinking that I'm like, how should I put this, man? This is a nice analogy, but I'm trying to work it out. So it's like if you're climbing mountains, right? There's like
Yeah, like
Mount
one
Everest or
always does
something
like every
where
weekend, right?
with the bigs. What?
You're climbing mountains like one ever does every weekend.
Well, yeah. No, but it's like if like success would mean like if success in this case would be like climbing a mountain, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm
Going
joking
to the
with you.
top, getting there would be success, right? So it's almost like you're not aware of how high the mountain you've already climbed is. That's what I'm trying to say. And you keep looking upwards to those other taller mountains full of people who you admire, and you're like, I want to be like them, man. And you try to follow them, but you kind of keep discrediting yourself because you're not there. You don't see that you're here. So this is a problem, I guess, because you're not able to see the present. You're not able to see. You forgot about the past, about all the struggle and the payoff you got. You just keep focusing on the future, and that's very energy draining. And as you can see, also money draining because you keep investing in stuff that you think is going to make you better. But again, tools that don't make the artist. So it's
Mhm.
not about how many books, how many tutorials, how many hours of videos have you watched. It's about how much you practice. And to be honest, I wasn't practicing that much. I think I was spending more time looking at other people practicing, like tutorials, videos on YouTube about art and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question?
I
You
don't
asked
think
me like
they're
how
like
why did I think those books were going to make
yeah.
me better, right? Well, that's
It's
why, because I
maybe
thought I was not
it's
good.
a feel good kind of moment, right? You think that you're
You feel
investing.
good because you got them. It's almost like that dopamine kind of cycle, right?
Yeah.
Like you feel good before doing the thing, right?
Mhm.
So before I got better, before I practiced with those books, I was already feeling better just by having those books. I was like, damn, this is gonna be it. Like, I'm gonna read this, I'm gonna practice what it says here, and I'm gonna be better. The thing is that you have to do it actually.
Yeah,
That's what's
Yeah.
hard. That's what's hard about it.
it's kind of like how we talked about in the well, last couple calls ago about the motivation thing.
Hmm.
Just do- overdosing on motivational content, not actually putting it into action. Just like, oh yeah, I'm getting a high of motivation, but I'm not actually doing anything.
I'm getting
I'm just
pumped, but
watching.
it's 3 a.m., so I'll start by tomorrow.
You never end up doing
Exactly.
anything. You just
They're surely useful in some certain amounts, right?
mhm,
But if you only rely on that all the time, I don't think it's productive.
yeah,
So what I'm
I
saying,
agree.
it's okay to get like a little bit of that, just to get you going, to get you started, to get you whatever, and then that's it. Then it's up to you, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not like you need like a mountain of books
Yeah,
or
to
of
me it was the
tutorials.
opposite way. Like I did not had a lot of resources, so I only had two books, and that's what I studied like 3 or 4 times each. So
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's it.
and now like I'm a hoarder of books, so I cannot speak that much.
But
But
it's way easier to focus on a couple books than to have to choose between many others, right? Same with
yeah,
Yeah,
tutorials,
and like
same with anything.
it's like
um
having too many cooks in the kitchen,
yeah,
sort
and
of thing.
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
advice that I would have to give to people as well is that I will not consume things that are related to art all the time. Like watch videos all the time and watch tutorials all the time and everything. Because at least what happened to me was that when I was doing that, I was feeling like I was burned out by the art, but not because of how much I was practicing, but because like you get surrounded so much by it that's like overwhelming, right? And
It's too much information.
yeah, and it doesn't really help, like because I was
Hmm.
practicing what I would consider to be enough, right? Let's say 6, 7, 8 hours a day, and like other than that time, I would try to watch things related to that as well. Like surround myself with everything art related, and
Hmm.
that's not really like useful at some point. You gotta give your mind a break or something, you know, and that um, that break would make me feel energized by like when I came back to doing art.
Dude, it's insane how important breaks are.
Yeah,
I feel like we don't value them
I
as
feel
they
like
deserve.
the internet as a whole doesn't value that, you know,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
It's because of this hustle culture, right?
not only that, I think it's one of the effects of social media because if you think about the group of the three of us, you, Adrian, are in Europe, right? And Dom, it's
Hmm.
in North America, and I'm in South America. So no matter when I get online, one of you guys, it's online as well. And it seems like 100% of the time there is somebody somewhere in the world
Hmm.
doing the work.
It's the illusion,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm
The
like
impression
being
we
left
get.
behind all the time because
Hmm.
you
yeah.
follow people from all over the world, right?
And
Like,
you feel that pressure of
yeah,
like, I gotta catch up, man. These guys never stop, right?
yeah. But it's
When
not
in
like
reality,
one
it's not
person that
really
never
like that.
stops. It's like the collection of people never stops. Right?
Exactly. Like the whole community never sleeps or something.
Yeah,
And sometimes it just plays tricks on your brain, and yeah, it makes you want to achieve more, but you feel like you can't catch up. But the thing is, you're you're focusing on your own lane, and that's what is more important. It's about your journey and what you want to make out of it. It's like comparing your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 20. You know, it's not the same thing. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah,
I'm actually fascinated by how easy you can get like um how do you say this, like misinformed, or you misinterpret something on social media. Like for instance, I've been posting a lot of artwork from a project I did 2 years ago, right? I just have nothing better to show right now, and I wanted to get this out of the way first. So I'm focusing on just sharing this project now, and it's a bunch of paintings that I did, and I'm uploading like once a day. And I've seen people thinking, even though I'm kind of mentioning it in the caption, right? Like this is from an old
no one reads
project two
them.
years ago. No one reads that, man. They just see it and they think, dude, you're killing it, man. You never stop. And I'm like, dude, I actually I
get that
said it
too.
in one comment. That was a friend of mine, just like, dude, this is a film or something. Dude, this is like 2 years ago.
Don't you remember
Damn.
that? I
Okay.
shared that with you
Sorry,
back
I
then.
sorry I didn't read it, man. I'm like, okay. I guess no one reads the captions anyway. So that
Some do.
leads them
Yeah,
to
some
some
do.
do, yeah, but most are
Not
like impressed by the art, and no matter what it says down there in the caption, they're just like captivated by the art, just by the level of this artist. Just kind of, dude, this guy always pumps out like such level, right, of art. It's like this is impossible to catch up with. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about how sometimes I feel with other artists, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I know this is old. I know, I get it. This is old, but damn, look at this art, dude. That's the way I feel sometimes. It's like, you're aware of the reality of it, but it's almost like a psychological thing, like it affects you that way. Like it makes you feel like you're being left behind. You're like never catching up. And if we do the math, it's logically impossible to catch up with someone that started like say 20 years ago, right? That's impossible. But what you can do is to focus on your own art, your own journey, right? Take a look at what you did like yesterday, last week, last month, last year. Keep a track of your own progress. I think there's nothing more motivating than that, to see how much you've improved, how high have you climbed, respect kind of regarding what you were yesterday, or you know
right.
tracking yourself in time. I think is very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Um,
That's
sometimes we
what's
lose.
nice about us artists. You can just, you know, save a JPEG of the image. You can see most of them on the same screen. Like, this is from this year, this is from that year. Damn, look at this progress, stuff like that.
That's what my archive is for. It's like all my old work in there
Hmm.
that never show. But
I
but yeah,
used
that's
to add like the year with my
uh,
signature
oh,
earlier
me
in
too.
life. Yeah, just to keep like sometimes you don't remember, when
Yeah,
did you do this exactly.
exactly.
If you see the years, like, oh man, this is so old. Damn, that was not bad.
It's
You
a
know,
long time.
Yeah, I do
it's
that in
funny
my
because
sketchbooks,
sometimes
Like there's the date where I began it and the date that I did the last drawing on it. So like you
do
compare
you
one to
guys
the other.
do you guys ever feel like looking back, checking like an old sketch or something, and thinking you were better back then than you are right now? Because I had that feeling a few times already, and it's like you feel like an imposter or something. Like, dude, I think I'm not that good. Like you look
Um
back, you see this awesome painting you did like 3, 5 years ago. I don't know. And you're like, damn, I was able to do that back then. I don't think I would be able to do this now. In reality, of course you are, but it's like I'm just asking you. It's a feeling.
Sometimes
It's a weird
I feel that
sensation.
way sometimes, but I realize a lot of the work that I did in the past was it didn't have like my whole passion in it or my whole soul in it. So it was mostly just grunt work, kind
Hmm.
of the concept art stuff, you know. And my more recent stuff is more like I'm all in it, and
Yeah.
I feel more invested in my work now than I was 6 ago when I was
yeah,
just learning
I would say
stuff.
like
It's
in
like a
terms
night and day.
of technical skills, I don't know if I would say that I was better back then. But what I would say is that because the technical skills they grow more steadily, I think that sometimes I look back on the idea and I find that cool. So like, oh, this drawing is like poorly done, but the idea is so nice, right? And like with my current skill sets, maybe I could pull that off in a decent way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's
I
it's
was trying
really
to plug in the imposter syndrome there in the conversation.
yeah, I
trying to
know,
find.
but
Maybe we can talk about it in another episode or something.
Well,
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
we could leave that to the
Right.
next episode if you want. I'm not like opposed to that.
not bad.
To
Yeah.
be honest, I think like you could fit imposter syndrome in any episode with any artist ever. So like it will not be hard to talk about it.
It's a compliment, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah, I
it's a
just think that
side dish.
um, if there's any advice for people in regards to keeping old work, I would say to like let it rest. You know, like it's your past self. It's good to compare yourself in terms of technical skills and everything, and it's nice to see improvement. But remember that like your past self didn't know what you know today. So if it's worse from your opinion right now, that's probably because you are not like technically as good as you are right now. But if you think that's better, it's probably because what you value as an artist changed over time, and now you think that some things that you did back then, like they represent better who you are right now, but maybe back then they did not represent who you were. So I think that's the
Of course, that's a natural evolution of your
yeah.
understanding, I
The
guess.
comparison has to be something that has a positive outcome, no matter
Hmm.
when you do it and in regards to whom.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you guys want to sort of do with your art? Like, if you guys ever had a family or something, you know, like how would you want that to, or your art to flourish when you're much older? I feel like,
I
as for me,
want
or go ahead.
actually like that's an interesting question because I was thinking about it uh, coming to this episode. Because as I
Mhm.
said, like I look at you guys and you have that idea of your own IP, right? And it's hard for me to not to deal with it, but compare myself with you guys when I don't want that, right? It's like I look at my peers and they want something that is not necessarily what I want, but so I had to dive deep into my own personal beliefs and see like go through it as a discovery journey, right? Not assuming that I wanted the same things or that I needed to want the same things.
Hmm.
And I ended up finding out that to me, I think the final goal would be that I have the impact on other people's lives that I had on my own that other people had. So, as an example, the reason why I value, um, let's say, certain IPs, right? Like, look, you're gonna kill me for mentioning Star Wars again, but the reason why I value
It's
it so
okay, dude.
much, it's probably because um, you guys know a little bit of my childhood, and there were
Hmm.
some rough moments, and maybe the fact is that having like that kind of inspiration and certain stories that took me out of reality and traveled into like other worlds and stuff like that. That was a healing factor to the traumas, and that's most likely what inspired me to follow this career. You know, like the idea that I can have the same impact on someone else's lives, like the idea that my work can be the tool to take someone out of a bad situation, or maybe like even for a little bit make them feel better about themselves and wonder that the world could be a better place. And
Damn inspiring, man.
That's good. That's, that hit the
Make the
heart, man.
world a better place.
yeah, no man, but
Yeah.
it's reality. It's not like trying to be dreamy about it, you know, like
Hmm.
look, imagine that you were a kid and you you don't think that your life is very interesting, right? You don't feel too good about yourself, and you are overthinking way too much even though you were a kid. Now you watch this, let's say you play this video game or you watch this movie, and it makes you think that, whoa, like the world could be so much cooler, you know, like It's not like I was deep
Dude,
thinking about that, but when I was
how would you
six, but
explain this? How would you explain this to someone who's like not a non-artist person? You know, like how would you make the world? How are you going to make the world a better place? You know, with your art. Like, what does
mm,
that mean? You know,
I
I've
think that
had this
everybody
conversation a few
understands that.
times.
I think that everybody understands that. They consume media. The reason why they consume it, even if they don't, if they are not aware of it, it's because the real world is not enough, and you need to watch stories to understand both yourself and the world around you. So it's like that idea of having movies and TV shows and everything being a meta story. You know, like a story that
Hmm.
encompasses every story ever told. And if you find um, the message behind those, and maybe the message is good, maybe the
That's
message is
it.
bad, I don't know, but like
That's it.
the message behind those stories would be, and now you're saying that's it, and you're creating like a huge what's called expectation about what I'm going to say, so it's making me weird to talk about.
You already said it anyway.
But
It's the message. It's what you get from it.
yeah, but
It's your
maybe
interpretation.
yeah,
You know,
but the interpretation varies like from person to person and the moment that the person is
of
going
course, it's
through, right?
subjective.
Yeah. So I guess that's
I
it,
was
man.
asking you because, like, it seems that some people just don't want to not necessarily see it, but not accept it. The fact that you can influence, say, the world, right? The world. I mean, people, right? With your art. Like, how are you going to change the world with a bunch of paintings, man? Like, let's be realistic. And you're like, dude, it's like from how I see it, it's a matter of inspiration. It's like inspiring with the stories. You know, if you take photography, filmmaking, like movies and stuff,
I honestly
animation,
don't see
even
how
painting itself.
yeah, I don't see how a painting is different from like a speech or talking with somebody. You know, like
Right,
if you can
right.
change their
Hmm.
minds with talking with them, why wouldn't
Hmm.
you be able to change their minds with a painting with or with a movie or with whatever it is that
Exactly.
you
It's
show
like
them?
it affects your mood, your decision making. It stimulates you. You know.
That's why we
Um.
have. Oh, sorry.
No, no,
That's why
it's
we're
okay.
nostalgic about stuff from our childhood. Because
Right.
that emotion is so strong
Hmm.
with us. That pull is so
The
strong with us from
memories.
childhood. Yeah. So we remember those things. The media that we watched, our favorite TV show, our favorite movie as a kid. That bond is strong.
It
Like
brings you
when we're
back
adults.
to a certain moment, certain circumstance. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it is a really big influence, like media and art, film, all that stuff.
And
It's not
it does
easy.
that like in good and bad ways as well. Like if you have a really bad memory related to something,
Exactly.
like
That's what I wanted to say. It can bring you back to some good place or some really bad place. Depends on the memory, of course. But yeah. And about the how will you deal with your art career further in life, like when you'll have like a family or, you know, changes in life?
I'll tell you when I get there, man. I'm going after it. Don't worry.
Same, dude, because I have no idea. Like I'm honestly not even worried about it. It's almost like I'm focusing on this very moment right now, like these times, you know, not really
Mhm.
worried about like what's gonna happen in 10 years to me. Like I'm trying to live now by the moment, just focusing on this. I honestly look at my project as a lifetime type of project. You know, I don't see an end to it. And from a business point of view, it's like not really good because you want to have a deadline and stuff. And I guess what I'm saying is that I don't see an end to the story, like to the whole project, right? You can have
Yeah.
little deadlines, like maybe you release like a series of paintings telling the whole story, maybe a book, maybe a bunch of books, maybe a TV show, maybe whatever it is your project, right? Um,
Journey to the East Part Two.
for example,
Dude, it's not Journey to the
I
East.
just
What's the
don't
name
see.
of the new project? Um,
Oh,
The
the
one that
one I'm
you,
working on right
yeah,
now. It's called Blue November.
yeah. Okay, so that's it, man.
What's it
Blue
called?
November coming out in November this year, confirmed.
Oh man, that's really next November. The other November. Uh, there's no deadline for that. It's just I want to make a more shorter story, but then after that, who knows? Could be continuation of the first book. We'll see. I don't know. Bring artists to collaborate on it. Very cool.
Oh, yeah, boy.
Okay,
That's
dude.
nice,
So
dude.
be
That's
aware
awesome.
that you will have to write some ships if you want to, for me to contribute to your project.
Ships? Oh yeah,
I'm sure we
yeah
can
for
work
sure.
that out for you.
It's a
I
sci-fi
mean, like,
world,
come
so
on, man. Spaceships, they fit everywhere, right?
yeah. Going back to the other thing, yeah, I think
Mhm.
creating art is more like if I have a family or something, like I want to hopefully leave a legacy for my kids. I think that's the ultimate thing that I want is you know have my own child look up to me and inspire him or her. You know, like I love that. Honestly, like just inspiring kids to grow up and reach their dreams and stuff. It's like
Yeah, I think the idea of making them believe that anything that they put their mind on to, it's possible,
yeah,
would be a honorable goal.
Do you guys think? I'm sorry. I'm trying
No,
to.
I don't think at
I'm
all, man.
focusing a
But
lot on.
I'm glad you asked.
I'm trying to focus a lot on what's right or wrong. Like when you have a kid, is it okay to kind of not force him, but uh kind of try to make him, naturally, like I would expect that my kid will love art and the stuff I do, and hopefully one day he'll become a better version of what I do, right? Do you
Mm,
think that's
I think that's wrong.
okay? I
Like,
don't, I don't think
I'm sorry
that's
for being so
I
straight
would
to
like
you.
him. No, no, that's why I'm asking, because I don't think I would like him to just simply make his own way, like
Yeah,
do whatever you want, man. Like you don't have to be an artist if you don't
yeah,
want to, right?
I would not
Do
mind
whatever you
if
like.
he was inspired
It would
and
make me extremely proud, of course, to see my son as like an artist and stuff like that. It's like, dude, it's everything you've ever wanted, right? But what if
it's
it's
like
not that way?
inspiring them in their own way to choose any career they want.
yeah,
You know,
That's what I
but
was
being
talking
that
about. Yeah.
benchmark as for them, like, hey, like make your own path or make your own stance in the world,
yeah.
but in your own
I think that
career.
you should be an example of hard work, right? And
Yeah,
not necessarily a career path. Because here's the thing,
Yeah.
man. As I told in the previous episode, I made a mistake of choosing the wrong college first time, right? And I was really certain that that's what I wanted to do. So like, if I had everybody making a lot of expectations about me, having a lot of expectations on me, it would make that much worse, right? But because everybody was so understanding that like, oh, that's not what he wants, so it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail, as long as you are willing to like put in the work in order to find what you really want and like what's your real goal is and what will make you happy in life. I think that's the best thing. Like be clear to your kid that
Yeah.
um, as long as they are working hard, it's it's okay. Like they can choose their own path, and you will be supportive no matter what. You know.
Probably the best thing is to kind of let them explore
Yeah.
without allowing them to get lost, you know? I think your responsibility as a parent is to kind of observe, what is he like or she like, you know? What do they want to do? And kind of enforce that, help them achieve that, I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to, you know, control, no, 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 you don't want that. You want this.
Yeah, I will
It's
not
like
project myself too much into my kid.
that's it.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I wanted to
I'm
say.
saying this without having one, so it's like very likely that
None
at
of
some
us have
point or
one.
another,
We're not
So
parents yet,
yeah,
so
it and also like there's one thing that I was talking to my girlfriend the other day, and we had this conversation about our parents, right? And it's
Mhm.
very common that you see people from our generation or younger judging their parents a lot, right? And like throwing on their face everything that they made that was wrong with them. And look, you gotta remember that most of parents they are trying to do their best, and most likely we will try to do our best, and we will make a lot of mistakes. And like it's okay as well, man. Like um, understand that uh, as with everybody else, they are humans and they will make mistakes. And we have to deal with our parents' mistakes the same way that our kids will have to deal with ours. So it's like as long as you come to the come up to the situation with the idea that like everybody's good-hearted and they're trying their best, right? There's nothing like that's 100% wrong to do. So even if at some point you place expectations on your kid that they want to be, they would be better if they were like you or if they
Yeah,
were an artist as well. Look, it's perfectly fine, man. Like as long as you recognize that and you try your best to be the best parent that you can be, there's nothing that you can do that's like 100% wrong.
that's a pretty complex subject matter, I think, because from your perspective, you're always right. You know,
Yeah,
it's like I'm trying to do the best, man. Why would I want to do something wrong? And in reality, maybe I don't know what it could be, like a lack of communication or a lack of whatever it is. Maybe you're kind of overlooking something that might help you understand that you're not helping. You know,
yeah.
and that's it brings to my mind right now so many cases of people whose parents have pushed them towards one particular career direction, that they didn't want to, and they end up like stressed, unfulfilled, most likely failing whatever the career is, and then choosing like another path. So
I know
it's
some.
very
Okay, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
no. Yeah, some people like that in your
I
life.
know some people that not only like that, but they are very successful in the career that they did not choose. So it's like it's
Mm.
even it's sad actually to see that, because
So are they happy and
not at
they're
all.
cool
You know,
with it,
that's
Like
or
they're
not
successful
at all?
in a in a
Like
financial
they're
way.
really
that's
good, but they're like,
They are really good,
this
but
sucks, man.
it's not
that's
that they say that it really sucks, but you can see that they
Yeah,
would be
you
happier doing
see it.
something
Hmm.
else. And that's like would be the number one thing to avoid if I am a parent. And look, I'm not trying
Yeah,
to say that the parents were bad people. That's not the case at all. That's like exactly my point. They were not bad
yeah.
people. They just like made a mistake. And
I think we have to understand that uh, our parents come from like a different moment in history,
yeah,
right? You might say, dude, that's not too long ago, but
mm,
the world has changed a lot in such a short span, right? So they were used to other kinds of jobs, right? And nowadays, it's like that has changed a lot. There's things that they don't understand, like, but how do you make money doing that? I don't get it. Like, where's the?
yeah,
Why
and
would
also
somebody
like
pay for that?
a little bit of gratitude is not bad. Like be grateful that they kept you alive for so long, and
Yeah,
that they took care of you and your basic needs. And maybe like the dream of your life, it was not the first priority when they were trying to keep you alive when you were a baby. So calm down. Like
that's,
have a little bit of
yeah.
patience
yeah.
because they had a lot with you as well.
Mhm. I can definitely
I, s-
like relate to that.
I, yeah, I feel like that's mostly when you know teenagers and stuff like that. Like, it's that time in life you're kind of dealing with a lot of changes, social changes, new stuff,
A
and
lot
it's
of
like your
changes.
parents are in the
Dude,
way.
that sounded so funny. I have no idea.
Social changes, dude. It's like you're
No, not
trying
about
to
social
fit
changes.
in. Oh, I see where you're going.
Hormone
All right,
changes.
Andre.
You already need some changes in your body, in your mind, and you start to looking at girls in a different way. No, dude, but I'm trying to emphasize this because I think that our
Dude,
audience
I'm
could
trying to
be,
say is like you feel like your parents are on the in the way,
yeah,
like they're playing against you, like they're your enemy or something because they're preventing you from having fun when in reality you might end up hurting yourself if you do that.
Yeah,
Stuff like that. You think they're playing against you, and in reality, it's like they're trying to protect you, right?
and
Yes, sometimes they can be overprotective. There are some parents preventing their kids from doing anything at all. That's not good either. It's like, remember what we said about the exploring thing, like
yeah,
let your kids
but
let them be
also
free.
communication is a two-way street, right? So if you
Mm,
think that they are not doing the best job that they can, maybe it's worthwhile to give them a chance and
mm.
talk with them in a serious manner. And if you want to be taken seriously, like treat yourself that way as well, you know, like show them that you have
right,
maturity to talk about stuff.
I think it all comes down to having like a lot of empathy and trying to
right.
understand the other
Yeah, and
the other
taking
side.
personal responsibility for like your
Mm.
relationships.
But that's kind of hard to ask from say a 12-year-old, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm not trying to say that's easy
Like,
or that like I did it perfectly. I don't even do that right now
no,
perfectly.
no.
But
Yeah, we're not talking about ourselves. Like, I'm speaking generally, you
yeah,
know.
and I'm talking about things that I realize were my own mistakes as well. So
Mhm.
maybe it's useful for people to know that, hey, instead of learning like hitting your face first on the wall,
Yeah.
let me hit my mine first, show you how it hurts, and then you'll not do that yourself.
You know what? I feel like we've all been there, and we're now speaking like from our experience. But I feel like no matter how many times you listen to this, it's like it's not the same until you experience it on your own. It's almost like if I tell you that fire burns, you can get burned, and you're like just creating yourself, making like an idea of what that must feel like. But it will be very different when you actually experience that yourself. It's like now
Yeah,
you have like a real impression of what that is, and now you understand it. It's like not theory anymore. It's like now I know what it is. So what I'm trying to say with this is that no matter how many times someone tells you about something, don't do this, don't do that, until you experience it yourself, you won't really feel exactly like what it feels like. You won't know what it feels like.
Yeah. You kind of have to make mistakes along the way, because
Hmm.
that's life. If you never fail, then you don't grow as a person.
And
Hmm.
It's
now
like
we put a Frank Sinatra on the background. That's like
it's life. Yeah, but did we get off track?
dude, I'm
Well,
gonna
we
be
were
honest too.
talking.
I think it's time to wrap this one up.
Yeah, that was a good talk. So going back to the
Mhm.
making your mark as an artist, I guess. So
Yeah.
what are your concluding thoughts? What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Andre. Hit him.
Um, I would say be mindful of everything that you do, but at the same time, try to be open to the possibility that it's okay to make mistakes and you will be okay no matter your age, you know. Like, don't worry about making mistakes thinking that you are too old or too young. You'll make mistakes up to the day that you die, so there's no rush in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy the
Yeah.
journey, enjoy the ride. There's no rush. Always be learning new things, and don't limit yourself. Um, but always, you know, be happy in what you do, and don't ever sacrifice your happiness for something that you don't like to make it. You know, that's what I say.
Yeah. Remember, there's no defined path. It's like you carve your own path. Surround yourself with people who empower you, who make you feel, help you, who help you to improve, right? Um, and don't I mean, this is kind of hard to ask because it's like, don't doubt yourself, be passionate, or that's something you're going to have to find out at a certain point. You just have to keep walking, keep moving forward. And yeah, take breaks if you need to. It's not bad to take breaks, and just stay stay true to your dreams, your goals, whatever you want to make. Don't worry, it'll happen. Just got to keep swimming in that direction, right? And yeah, and you'll be surprised. The
Cool.
power of attraction, right?
Law of attraction. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
All
guys.
right.
How long
That
has
was
this been running for, man? It's been like two
I don't
like
hours.
know.
an hour and 15 minutes, maybe.
Whoa, that's a long one.
Don't
Yeah.
worry. The next ones will be even longer. Let's set
Next one is going to
expectations
be
high.
like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Show.
In a year,
Yeah,
we
All
will
this
be
right.
has
doing
been
those
nice.
24 hours live streams.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we
going to
should
be a
do live
challenge.
streams. Just
Yeah.
straight up let people come in
24
and
hours
talk.
painting nonstop.
Man,
Maybe I could finish a car in those those streams. Now.
That would be nice. Yeah, man, this has been pretty cool.
Yeah,
This
I
is going
appreciate it,
somewhere.
guys.
Second episode already.
Okay, so just as a wrap up, we will leave every relevant link in the description of the video. And if you guys liked it, please make sure to share it with your artist friends and non-artist friends as well. I think this one was very useful for everybody. So yeah, like, subscribe, do
Also,
everything.
l- also let us know if there's any topic you want us to kind of mention during our conversations and stuff. We can talk about it.
just comment down
And
below.
exactly, yeah, just leave it down below. And well, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your support. We're so excited for the third one already. And yeah,
Thank you,
We'll see you
guys.
hope to
guys.
see you there.
Peace.
See you guys.